Hey everyone, Ryan back here. I'm back here with my Black Sabbath video. My last video was on the Ozzy catalog from 1980 to 2022. Now that was just a brief overview of the catalog, and I'll probably go into maybe not all, but a lot of those albums more in depth and kind of go song by song and more in depth about my personal experiences with those albums. I don't know why I keep pointing over there. It's just, yeah. Anyways, but that's the only CD I don't have yet. But it's just like live stuff from the 70s. I think some is from like TV appearances and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to get that. But that's when I was collecting it, I was basically just focusing mostly on these studio albums. But I'm definitely, that's on my list, and I'll be getting that very soon. And when I do, I will definitely go and review it, even though I have heard it a while back. So, and it came out like 22 years ago. So, but anyways, I'm going over the main Ozzy Years Black Sabbath discography. From what I have, anyways, I don't have everything, but gotta do what I can, right? So, anyways, the first album is, of course, the title album, Black Sabbath, and basically the album that arguably invented metal as we know it. A lot of people, metalheads like myself, it's always the debate who invented it, like bands like Judas Priest or Black Sabbath, but I go with Black Sabbath. This is a phenomenal album. I'm definitely gonna get this on vinyl at some point, but man, this is one hell of a debut. And uh, another YouTuber, the Grimm-Life Collective, that signed thing, they actually went to the photo location of this. You can find a video on their channel, Grimm-Life Collective. Little shout out, but yeah, they went to the location where the photo of this album was taken in England, which is really cool. So I recommend looking up that video. I'll put a link to the video in the description below, and you can watch that video from the Grimm-Life Collective on YouTube here on their channel. It's wicked. They did that, I think, last year or earlier this year. But anyways, good channel. That's a signed photo I got from them. So anyways, Black Sabbath debut album. Of course, it opens with the title song, Black Sabbath, and love that song, especially the hitting of the steel and everything. Oh, it's just such a good song. And The Wizard with Ozzy on harmonica. And he still plays that harmonica too. You see the reality show he made there probably about 6-7 years ago, a couple seasons with Ozzy and Jack's World Detour. That's a really good show, especially the second and third season. The one they bring Kelly along with it too. But you see Ozzy all the time playing his harmonica. Just stop and taking a break, and he's just going on the harmonica. It's cool. It's cool that he still plays the harmonica and everything like that, because that's a classic song, The Wizard. And of course, Wasp, behind the Walls of Sleep, basically, and of course NIB. I love that song. That's one of my favorite Black Sabbath songs. I just love that. Yeah. Wicked World, A Bit of Finger, Sleeping Village, and Warning. Kind of a medley there. It's such a good CD. Of course, that's the basic version of the CD. I don't have the still in pretty good condition. I don't have the of course, special edition or anything. Of course, eventually, if I had all the money in the world, I'd get every edition I could. But as long as I have a copy of it, I've had that since high school. That CD. Same as this album number 2, probably their most popular album by Black Sabbath, Paranoid. Of course, the title song Paranoid is probably their most popular song, most well-known song. People that don't follow metal or rock or anything, a lot of people know that song, and of course it's on the radio all the time. But that was my introduction to Black Sabbath too. As I mentioned in the last video about the Ozzy catalog, when I first got into Ozzy, I didn't really know about Black Sabbath because I didn't grow up with it in my house. My parents didn't live to listen to Black Sabbath or anything at all, and I started playing guitar and getting into music before even anyone had the internet at home in the early 90s. So I didn't really, I had to, I'll make another video on this, how I got into it. But yeah, basically I developed my musical taste based on what my parents were playing, what I saw on Much Music, Canada's MTV at the time, and of course the radio, and whatever my friends at school would be listening to. So that's pretty much how we heard about it. And of course, like music magazines and stuff, Rolling Stone and Metal Edge, stuff like that, right? So eventually I once I got into, like, I think it was No More Tears, that really got me into Ozzy, and then of course through much music got into Black Sabbath, and then slowly borrowed tapes and everything off of my friends, and eventually started collecting them all in high school. So of course we open up with War Pigs, which is of course, yeah, War Pigs / Luke's Wall. War Pigs is again arguably also, along with Paranoid, is one of their all-time favorite songs. That's just the air raid, the siren going on in the opening. Everything, oh, just you can't. It just gives you chills. When I saw it live, it was Ozfest years and years ago, decades ago now. I saw them live. My God, it just gives me chills. I'm still getting goosebumps now. But epic song. Of course, that's the first one. Then of course, Paranoid, and Planet Caravan, another classic. This album is just so good. And of course, none other than Iron Man. Everyone knows that song. Don't even have to go on about it. Everyone knows Iron Man. Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom. Love a Hand of Doom. And especially how it changes. It's the thing with Black Sabbath songs, too. It's like almost like there's a couple songs within songs, you know? Like, it's like how Hand of Doom, you know, Doom's really slow, and it goes, and then it'll change into dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 you know, I love that. One of my favorite Black Sabbath songs. And of course, we have Rat Salad, Awesome, Jack the Stripper, and Fairies Wear Boots. I constantly put that as my status on, like, you know, little like notes on Facebook and Instagram and on Steam for gaming and everything. It's just I just put, Fairies Wear Boots, yeah, you gotta believe me. Love that song. Anyways, Paranoid by Black Sabbath. Probably if you're gonna get your first Black Sabbath album, go with Paranoid. That's a good start. And of course, we got number 3, Master of Reality. And I first heard this album, of course. Kids are so lucky now with Spotify and streaming and everything. You can literally go and listen to any song and album at any time. In a lot of the cases, back then, you know, it took me a while to even hear this. I think it was in grade 11. When I borrowed this cassette tape of this off my buddy before I got this. You know, that's how we just accumulated songs. And sorry, I have to lift my glasses here because my eyes are changing. I think my eyes are getting better. Of course, we got Sweet Leave, After Forever, Embryo, Children of the Grave, another classic. That was the first song I heard off of this. Probably my favorite off this. We got Orchid, Lord of This World, Solitude, and Into the Void, another classic. Yeah, Master of Reality, and of course that's where this logo comes from. The classic Black Sabbath logo. That was pretty much designed from this album too. Yeah, Master of Reality, and they have some of them in vinyl that's actually just all one color, not different color for Black Sabbath in the album title. So, but I have that version, this regular version, and this one, the 4th release. Black Sabbath Volume 4. This is my personal favorite. Arguably, might be my favorite thing Ozzy ever did. That's debatable. I'll probably go through and rank everything in another video, but yeah, I gotta think on that. But definitely, it's hands down my favorite Black Sabbath album. Black Sabbath Volume 4. And I got the collector's edition of this one, but I do have the original version, but I prefer this one. Wheels of Confusion, Tomorrow's Dream, and of course this one they have a nice ballad on this too. Changes, which of course he did at the end of the No More Tours tour for the No More Tears album, and of course he covered this with his daughter Kelly in 2006. I'm not really a super fan of that one, but it's cool he got to do that with his daughter, and it was Ozzy's first #1 hit actually. But yeah, I prefer this version. That or the live version that's off of Ozzy's live album, Live and Loud, from the No More Tours tour, the first one in the early 90s. But yeah, Changes, that's a great song. FX, which is basically just sound effects, kind of a transitional song. And then probably my favorite off this album is Supernaut. Love that song and the riff. I love playing that riff on guitar too. It's just I listen to that song for multiple times a week. I probably listen to this album 3 or 4 times a week. But it's just I love it. Snowblind, the next song. My eyes are blind, but I can't see. Classic. Cornucopia, Laguna Sunrise, Saint Vitus Dance and Under the Sun. Just classic album. I love that. I'm gonna get this on vinyl. I might get this on vinyl next month or so when I'm gonna be at a record store. But I still have to get any vinyl from Black Sabbath, so I think this is gonna be my first. So definitely my favorite Black Sabbath album, hands down. Amazing. One of the best metal albums too. It's just phenomenal. Album number 5. It just keeps on going. They're on a roll here. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Album number 5. And of course, the title track. That is just great. It has, again, multiple changes and different tunes. I love the riff on Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. It goes... It's just... The, the rhythm gets really low and gritty and part of the song. I love that. I love that guitar riff. Again, Tony Iommi with his friggin' riffs, man. The riff master, a legend himself, a national acrobat rather. Fluff. I actually like that. It's kind of Fluff. It's just listen to it. It's a little different, and I like that. That's a notable song off this too. Sabracadabra. That's a great one. Killing Yourself to Live. I love that song. Who Are You? Looking for Today and Spiral Architect. That's another great one too. I love it. It's a good cover and everything too. And they have a video for Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath too. But yeah, great album, number 5. They were on a roll. And I guess at this point, up to this 5th album, they still didn't even own their music. They were getting screwed over by their manager. Like they basically all their that was number 5, but all their houses and cars and all their songs was owned by management and stuff, I guess. I think they played one gig in California, whatever festival. You see, I forget the name of it, but they have like these rainbow stuff and everything behind them, and I guess the band got paid $250,000 for that, but I guess each band member only got $1,000. So the management and everything pocketed basically $246,000. Of course, that's long settled now, but I believe, according to, it was on I believe the Steve-O podcast a year or two ago. Sharon Osbourne was on there, and he said, and she said, that Black Sabbath now is owned 50% by Tony Iommi and 50% by Ozzy Osbourne. So I guess that sucks for Geezer and Bill, but moving on. Album number 6, this is when they decided to really start producing things themselves a bit, and it's really good progressive metal album in a way, and it's really just Ozzy's vocals a little bit more screamy in this one, but still great, and it's just this is a beast of an album. Hole in the Sky, Don't Start, Too Late, Symptom of the Universe. That's one of the first Black Sabbath songs I've heard too. I used to play that guitar in the music room with my buddies. We used to jam to that. And I was on guitar, my buddy was on bass and drums, and we used to play Symptom of the Universe. Other than Paranoid and Iron Man, I think that was my 3rd Black Sabbath song I ever learned on guitar. Megalomania, The Thrill of It All, Super Czar. I always mispronounce that. It's like super, then the T and Z-A-R. I always say Super Czar. Am I Going Insane? I love that. I love that song. Am I Going Insane? They play that on Ozzy's Boneyard a lot too, which I listen to Ozzy's Boneyard, his Sirius XM channel. That's supposedly curated by Ozzy, but yeah, they play a lot of Ozzy and Sabbath on that channel, but they play that song. That's the main song they play off of Sabotage, but great album. And I love the cover. I definitely will get that on vinyl someday, because I love when they do. They kind of link the front and the back of the album cover of the images and stuff, kind of how Cheap Trick did in the early albums and stuff. But Sabotage, so like on the vinyl version, I hate they do that on the CDs. It's just the basic, but the basic Rio vinyl back they put on the inside, so it's like it's supposed to be a reflection, but it's basically as you see on the cover, it's just the reflections are also facing forward, so it's kind of a ghostly image, I guess. But yeah, Sabotage, great. A little bit more in your face, but it's classic. 6 for 6, and then of course after that they released this basically their first greatest hits. We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll. And this is a lot of people's first Sabbath album. This was a big hit too, just because this is a lot of people picked this up on vinyl back in the 70s as their first Sabbath album. But it has Black Sabbath, The Wizard, Paranoid, War Pigs, Iron Man, Tomorrow's Dream, Fairies Wear Boots, Changes, Sweet Leaf, Children of the Grave, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, Am I Going Insane Again, Snowblind, and NIB. 14 songs, 14 classics. If you're going to get your first Black Sabbath CD or album, yeah, sure, Paranoid, as I mentioned. Basically any of them, any of the ones I just mentioned. But if you want to get your first CD and just get a start from the Ozzy years, the 70s Ozzy years, yeah, pick yourself up this one on vinyl or CD. Great start to your collection. So, moving on to the next album, Technical Ecstasy. Now, this one's a little different. They got some acoustic and even some piano on this. Some great stuff. You know, it's doing a little something a little different, but Backstreet Kids, not Backstreet Boys, Backstreet Kids. You Won't Change Me. That's my favorite off this album. I love You Won't Change Me. That's just such a good lyrics to that, too. Like Geezer Butler pretty much was writing the lyrics at this time. Great lyrics, very deep song, and just some great riffs. Oh, great stuff there. It's All Right. That was a song sung by drummer Bill Ward. Gypsy, All Moving Parts, Stand Still, Rock and Roll Doctor, She's Gone. That's a nice ballad in the vein of Changes, but different. That's a nice ballad from them, too. And Dirty Woman. 8 songs. Produced by Black Sabbath again. Of course, back there. This is a special edition of this one. I have the regular version too, but I like this version there. And not a bad album. Of course, Technical Ecstasy, it's basically robots, you know, getting it on, I guess. But yeah, good album. And then the last albums of the 70s era before, I got a cracked case there, but I got to replace that. I got tons of backup jewel cases, but yeah, this is probably their one of the, I wouldn't say worse because it's still not bad, but Black Sabbath was falling apart this time. It's Never Say Die, the last album they made with Ozzy. It's probably my least favorite album by Black Sabbath of the Ozzy years, anyways. And yeah, it's just my least favorite cover, really. You know, it's just, but yeah, it's just Never Say Die, Johnny Blade, Junior's Eyes, A Heart Road, Shockwave, Shockwave. I would say Shock Warp. Air Dance, Over to You, Breakout, and Swinging in the Chain. Nothing really too memorable on this. It's, you know, it is what it is. The last album, Van Halen was opening for them on this tour. It was their first real tour, and they were blowing Black Sabbath off the stage at this time because Black Sabbath was just falling apart in drugs. Of course, they ended up firing. They got Bill Ward, who was the closest one with Ozzy, and they got him to fire Ozzy because he was too, you know, out of his mind on drugs and stuff like that. But I think in the interviews later, they laughed like, which is ridiculous because we all were. I think I still have to read Geezer's book. I just recently got the audio book. I can't wait to listen to that audio book, Into the Void it's called. But yeah, Geezer Butler, Into the Void, great autobiography. I think I've listened to I have listened to the first couple chapters, but I got to finish it. Remind myself for later. But yeah, they were basically all obliterated on drugs, but they kicked Ozzy out. And of course, they went on to Dio with Ronnie James Dio, which is still awesome. I have those. That's another video. Yeah. So they basically started with Dio as Ozzy was starting with Blizzard of Oz. They started with Heaven and Hell. But anyways, skip ahead off of that. Ozzy was off doing his own thing in 80 and, you know, went over that in the other video. And now they did reunite Live Aid for an 85. They did do a set at Live Aid, even though they weren't officially with Ozzy there at the time. And because again, that's another video going to the whole in between this, but we're skipping ahead. They did reunite during the No More Tears tour a couple times and do a couple songs. It's on the Live and Loud live album by Ozzy. It came out in around 92, 93. We went over it in the other video. Yeah, that has some cool Black Sabbath live. They reunited then, but they did get together for a full reunion. And this is recorded in Birmingham, of course, their hometown in England. And this is a 2-disc live concert of their reunion. All 4 original members, Ozzy, Geezer, Tony, and Bill, all got together. And this is one of it was nearing the end of the time that they actually had with Bill. It was, you know, less than a decade after this. That was 8 years after this, they got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006. But yeah, so just go over the tracks on this for you guys. It's double live with a couple of brand new original studios. So they got War Pigs, Behind the Well Asleep, NIB, Fairies Wear Boots, Electric Funeral, Sweet Leaf, Spiral Architect, Into the Void, Snowblind, that's disc 1, and then disc 2, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Orchid and / Lord of this World, Dirty Woman, Black Sabbath, Iron Man, Children of the Grave, Paranoid, Psycho Man. That's a new studio track that came out in this 1998 release. Like that, you could see that on streaming. But yeah, Psycho Man, and then Selling My Soul. Pretty good album for a good album. It sounds great. It's great to see all 4 back together and then recording. So Black Sabbath reunion. I consider this an essential. Great release. And then skipping all the way ahead, like Black Sabbath did get back together a little bit, but there was all kinds of legal stuff going on in the 2000s. That's why they didn't play at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at all. Metallica did. When they got inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006, they didn't play live. They basically, Metallica did a few songs, Black Sabbath songs, at the performance. So at the induction, because Lars and James from Metallica, they inducted Black Sabbath. But yeah, there was so much legal stuff going on there, and then eventually they got back together with Ronnie James Dio, and not with Bill Ward. They got Vinny Appice, who of course played on the Mob Rules album with Dio, but they called the band Heaven and Hell. Again, that's another video, but great album, but still. So, but they didn't get back together at Ozzy until this album, and this came out in 2013, of course, titled 13. And they didn't have Bill Ward on this. They had, I believe, Tommy Clefetos. Again, I can't pronounce that. Sorry, I butchered the name. Tommy Clefetos. But yeah, he was Ozzy's drummer. He played it live on the tour, on the End tour. But anyways, they didn't have Bill Ward on this. Bottom line, didn't have a Bill Ward on this album. So it's just Geezer, Tony, and Ozzy. All new original studio album, original songs. I got the deluxe version here, so they got 3 extra songs. But they got The End of the Beginning, and God Is Dead. There's a video for that. It's the first one I heard off this. Loner, Zeitgeist, Age of Reason, Live Forever, another single, Damaged Soul, and Dear Father. Now the second bonus disc on this has Methodemic, Peace of Mind, and Pariah. I like that song, Pariah. That's why when this came out, I had to get this special edition because I wanted Pariah on disc. So, yeah, so 2-disc version, the hologram on it. Yeah, it's not nearly as good as the other. Better than Never Say Die, but it's I would put the previous 8 Ozzy Black Sabbath albums that we just went over outside Never Say Die above this one. So this is probably my second favorite Ozzy years Black Sabbath album. So I'll rank them in another video. I'll probably rank everything Ozzy ever did. So be a while. I gotta think on that. But anyways, that's my Black Sabbath collection. Got a little poster up there now of the Past Lives CD, but I'll do a review when I do pick that up. And of course, from the album 13 there, they did release a Blu-ray and a CD of their final concert from February 2017 when they played Birmingham, and that was their final concert, Black Sabbath. And obviously covered title The End, so it was the end of Black Sabbath. But Ozzy has been, he said on the podcast, they did one with Billy Morrison. They have the Madman Chronicles. I recommend. It's on the Osbourne's website and stuff. And YouTube channel, but they had one episode earlier this year, and they was basically talking about Black Sabbath and everything. And Ozzy said his one regret is they didn't end it with Bill Ward, like all 4 of them together, and they're hoping to do one last show. And all 4 members came forward. Even Bill Ward said they're all game to do it, but of course, it does come down to Ozzy's health and whether he's able to do one last show, just with Black Sabbath, even in a club or something, in Birmingham. But it would be nice to see that. But we saw Ozzy there a couple weeks ago at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and sadly with his health and everything, it doesn't know if he's going to be able to put on a show ever again. you know, he'll probably make another album and everything, but, you know, that's session work and you can take breaks. It's not a whole different ball game from performing live on stage, right? And being able, especially Ozzy's, you know, so known for being so active on stage and just, you know, great frontman, great performer, right? Very energetic, throwing water on the crowd and everything. You know, it's great. I've been to one of his concerts, so it's just a great time. So if he's up there performing in a chair and a throne, like the way you saw at the Hall of Fame, like um, he could probably sing it and everything, but it just won't be the same. It won't be Ozzy, you know. He still has his voice and everything, which is awesome. So yeah, just see what he records and everything. Hey, it'd be cool if they all four just got together. Maybe they can get together and make one last song. Maybe not now, just make one last song and it's like, here's, you know, our last thing. All four original members just, you know, just record something. Ozzy would probably be able to do that. But anyways, that's my little review of the Ozzy Osbourne Black Sabbath years, or Black Sabbath the Ozzy years, whatever you prefer. Anyways, I'm going to stop it there. I'll be back with some more videos, and thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want, and hey, give me any suggestions. Tell me in the comments your favorite Ozzy memory or Ozzy CD and Black Sabbath album. What's your favorite Black Sabbath album? And, you know, yeah, tell me about it. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. And rock and roll. Be good to each other. Have great Halloween.